James Gunn sets the record straight regarding DCU's Wonder Woman and their approach to finding the right fit for the role. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. While a Wonder Woman movie, which wasn't part of DCU's original announcement, is currently being written, James Gunn expressed that the benchmark for the script remains very high. This chimes well with his previous comments that leaned toward the importance of getting the Trinity right, meaning the quality still remains the priority at DC. James Gunn has addressed fans' concerns regarding the Wonder Woman movie, while clearing the air surrounding the potential casting for the character. Considering it was previously reported that a Wonder Woman movie was being fast-tracked by DC without Gal Gadot at the helm, Gunn, through threads, clarified that this isn't entirely true. Although the movie remains a priority at DC Studios, there is no rushing the script, and as for the potential pick for the role, Gunn is adamant about choosing the best person for the job, irrespective of their track record. Nope. And I'd never in a million years look for a major role based on whether they did TV, films, or whatever. It's all about the casting. I didn't cast Millie because of her past, but because she was the best one for the role. But with the script still yet to be complete, it might be a while before we get official casting updates on DCU's Diana. The Guardians director expressed that their reasoning behind casting Alcock in the shoes of Supergirl was because she fit the part, not because of her experience in the realm of TV. As for the casting, Gunn debunked the rumors that claimed the DC studios were exclusively looking for actors who had a more TV-centric resume, like Millie Alcock, for Diana. From David Corenswet's Superman to his castings for the Guardians trilogy, James Gunn rarely misses when it comes to finding the right fit for the job. Even though finding the right successor is no easy task, with the right script and vision, finding the perfect successor to Gal Gadot won't be as big of a challenge as compared to finding the next Batman. Gunn also shared that no casting for Diana will transpire until they have a finished script at the helm, and given the director's history with CBM castings, fans can trust Gunn in that front. Although studios have a history of avoiding fan castings, it's important to note that Corenswet, before being handpicked by Gunn, was one of the major favorites for Superman among the DC fandom. Whatever the case proves to be, if Superman is one metric to go by, DC fans can afford to trust in Gunn for a Wonder Woman who can finally deliver lines that resonate with fans. Moreover, James Gunn has already entertained the prospect of Adria Arjona's Diana during his interview with Extra, who is arguably the biggest fan favorite for the gig as of now. James Gunn's Superman might not defeat Man of Steel at the box office, but that is far from a doomsday scenario it might seem. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Even before Superman debuted, there had been rumors of the movie needing to gross over $700 million to break even. While director James Gunn debunked the claim, the movie might ultimately fall short of that mark and even end its run below Man of Steel's collection. Superman was arguably one of the most anticipated movies of 2025, and the James Gunn-directed reboot had the burden of relaunching the DCU. While the movie initially soared with positive reviews and strong box office numbers, the dust is finally settling as a clear picture of its commercial performance emerges. When all is said and done, Superman, which sits at a $525.3 million gross, via the numbers, might not surpass Man of Steel's $668 million collection. To most, that might seem like a doom and gloom scenario. However, that is far from the case, as Superman offered plenty of positives and should not be judged simply by its box office numbers. Here is why Superman is losing to Man of Steel at the box office, and that is fine. The same is evident in the movie's international numbers, with the movie only making $223 million from overseas markets, via the numbers. Gunn himself cited the anti-American sentiments as a reason for the movie performing below expectations overseas in an interview with Rolling Stone. However, one of the major factors in the movie's perceived box office underperformance is the titular character's American way. For better or worse, Superman is identified as a quintessentially American hero. As a result, the anti-American sentiments in the real world certainly impact the box office numbers. In contrast, Superman collected $8.8 million in China, via the numbers, making up for only 3.95% of its international box office. Hence, it is safe to say that China's move away from Hollywood blockbusters hurt Superman's box office potential. The anti-American sentiments are perhaps most prevalent in China, which was a big market for Hollywood when Man of Steel was released in 2013. The Zack Snyder-directed movie earned roughly $63.4 million in China, making for a 16.7% share of the movie's international box office collection of $379.1 million, via Box Office Mojo. In comparison to recent Marvel movies such as Captain America, Brave New World, 68%, and Thunderbolts*, 56%, Superman only dropped 54% during its second domestic weekend, significantly less than Man of Steel's 69% drop, via Deadline. Hence, despite superhero fatigue, Superman held its own at the box office. A decade ago, the superhero genre was just entering its boom when Man of Steel debuted. Fast forward to 2025, and even the MCU is having its fair share of trouble at the box office. Only 2 of Marvel's last 6 releases, excluding the Fantastic Four, crossed the $700 million mark globally, via the numbers. Gunn's own The Suicide Squad was greatly affected by the pandemic-stricken box office back in 2021, as it was released simultaneously on streaming and in theaters, via Den of Geek. While that effect has slightly faded, it would still be unfair to discount the streaming factor when evaluating Superman's box office performance. Man of Steel was released when streaming was practically non-existent. In the post-COVID-19 era, streaming releases are announced even before movies arrive in theaters, which is affecting box office figures even if marginally. Despite this, when all is said and done, Superman might not soar above the Henry Cavill-led movie. However, the 2025 reboot did restore faith in the DC brand, securing stellar reviews, leading to an 84% critic score and 91% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. James Gunn's Superman flew into theaters on July 11, 2025, and had an opening weekend of roughly $125 million at the domestic box office, via the numbers. In the process, it surpassed Man of Steel's $116 million opening weekend figures. The movie's inclusion of crypto led to a 500% surge in interest for dog adoption, via New York Post. It also led to a rise in the sales of Superman comics, reviving interest in a character that was deemed too uncool and old-fashioned, via Daily.News. As a result, Superman offered plenty of positives and made a massive dent in the pop culture zeitgeist. While it may have underperformed in the eyes of many, it will make us re-evaluate the metrics for a movie's commercial success. From Superman, audiences and studios can stand to learn that a movie is more than just its bottom line, and maybe that's the real punk rock. Do you think Superman should be deemed a hit or a flop? Let us know in the comments. Superman is currently in theaters, and Man of Steel is streaming on HBO Max, USA. James Gunn's plan takes the DCU beyond Batman, Superman, and other mainstream heroes, and could give space to lesser-known characters. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Ragman is an underrated hero in DC Comics. As the name suggests, he is usually seen dressed in a suit that resembles rags, with some stories depicting each rag containing a soul. When Rory Reagan failed to save his father and